Video, I'm going to be talking about the Dragonslayer set just as a whole. I'm going to go through each in a couple of separate videos. I'm going to go through each of the actual component pieces of the Dragonslayer set, but they do consist of the Dragonslayer's greatsword for the weapon. We have the Dragonslayer armor for the armor piece, the Dragonslayer helmet for the helmet, and then for the accessory, it's the Dragon's Heart for the accessory piece. I will be covering each of these in separate videos, just kind of detailing just specifics about them as far as which ones I think are useful to run. But in this video, I am just going to be covering the set. So the set as a whole, I will preface this with the Dragonslayer set currently doesn't really follow into that meta space. Unfortunately, it is better than your classic equipment just because it is an S tier piece of equipment. All the set pieces are. So we have the Dragonslayer Greatsword. When we look at that, we got like 20% attack, 40% attack, 20% lifesteal. If we compare this to the best sword in the village, it only has 10% attack, 20% attack, 10% lifesteal. So in general, because it is still a S tier piece of equipment, all your S tier gear pieces are going to have better stats. So if it's comparing whether to use the Dragonslayer set compared to just regular gear, this is still a fine set to use, but among all the S tier pieces of equipment, it currently isn't the strongest to use, although there are still certain situations, which I'll talk about in a minute, that you do want to use them, or you could use them successfully. You don't really have to invest in the Dragonslayer set right now if you don't want to. So for the 2 set piece bonus, we have it's each attack in which in order to get this bonus, you do need to have the gear equipped has to be at least epic rarity or higher, but each attack has a 50% chance to increase final damage by 60%. So every time your slime attacks, each individual attack has a 50% chance to just increase the damage by 60%. So if your attack was going to deal 1 million damage, there's a 50% chance it will deal 1.6 million damage. So it is a big jump. However, it is a 50% chance, which is a high enough percent chance that you don't have to worry about it being too inconsistent. But when you average that out, on average, you're going to only be dealing 30% more damage. When if we go and compare it to like the Dominator set, the 2-piece set bonus, actually you can get up to like a 50% attack damage bonus. So really, that's why the 2-piece set, it's not a must-have. It is decent. So as far as tier, I mean, you really are going to want to go for that Dominator set or the Thunder God set or even Full Death. Now with the recent nerf, it's not quite as strong, but the Dragonslayer beyond that is a decent one to run. You can run Dragonslayer with a couple of death pieces, or Dragonslayer with Nyx, or Thunder God, whatever you have. If you don't have some of these other S tier pieces of equipment, this is still a fine one to use because on average you can still get 30% more damage out of it. It is a helpful, I mean, it provides better stats than if you were running like the Barbarian or Archer gear. So for the 4 set piece bonus, when an enemy attacks, hits the slime deals damage equal to 20, 15, or 8% of the enemy's maximum HP. This amount does vary just depending on whether the enemy is a normal, elite, or a boss enemy. So, I mean, your standard enemies in your waves are typically going to be normal enemies. Every once in a while you run into elites, and then like every 10 stages in the later chapters are going to be bosses, as well as the Gygas bosses also count as bosses, which that kind of brings me into the point where when the Dragonslayer set can still be very helpful, because late game meta, it doesn't fall into, if you're trying to push the most recent normal or hard mode stage, the Dragonslayer set might not be the best choice, especially the 4 set. However, if you're farming Gygas battle and you're really just trying to push it, this can be a viable option because as well as just having good damage stats, stuff like that, the Dragonslayer armor also gives you bonus shield HP, damage resistance good. But being able to, every time the Gygas boss attacks you, you'll actually reflect 8% of the Gygas boss's maximum HP back onto them as damage, as well as all the just regular attacks you get from your slime's attacks and abilities. So it can be helpful for trying to clear those Gygas battles, especially when you're getting stunned or whatever, just because you can reflect some damage back onto them. But thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions about the set or just about any other pieces of equipment in general. Again, I am going to cover each of these component pieces in a separate video. But thanks for watching.